Father's Day may have come and gone, but a father's impact on a child's life lasts forever. A new film shares the profound bond and loss as experienced by its creator and native South Carolinian Jason Mack. You'll recognize him from his hit series NCIS, Criminal Minds, and Vampire Diaries. He joins us now with more on his new film, A Father's Legacy. So good to see you here, Jason.
Thanks so much for having me.
So congratulations. Let me ask you this. Why did you choose this theme to create a film about?
You know, so about 5 years ago, my father passed away unexpectedly. And I remember going through that process. And for me, it was very much a before and an after moment. And my dad he was a wonderful father. He wasn't perfect. He probably would have preferred that I've been a banker. But here I am going to Los Angeles to be an actor and a storyteller. But when I lost him, he was one of my earthly guardians. And there was just something inside of me that I felt was kind of missing. And I really explored, what is that father-son relationship, and why is it something that even before he passed was always something that was really important to me. It always hit me whenever I would see that story, whether it's in film or TV. It always just get me. And I really started exploring that, and those are the themes that I put into this film that are really the bedrock of the story. And the story itself is fictional, because I definitely didn't go rob a warehouse or get chased by cops or anything like that. But those themes of what is a son to a father, what is a father to a son, and redemption, and there's some faith aspects in there too, very personal to me.
So why did you choose your character to be an outlaw in order to tell this story?
You know, I wanted to show two men who had made mistakes, who were kind of messed up, who were flawed. I didn't want there to be like, oh, well, this young guy is messed up and this old guy, like, he's like kind of perfect, and then he shows him the way. It's like, I want to show two broken people. And I think that we'll be able to relate to that a little bit more. And also I had to like get these people together. And I was like, well, what better way than, you know, running away from the police? Then you have to hide out.
That is true. And in the comfort of this man's presence, tell us who plays your father in this film.
Tobin Bell plays the old man in the film, and he does an amazing job. And most people recognize him from, you know, billion-dollar worldwide horror franchise. But when we approached him with this project, he was so interested. He was so in. And so I just found this out recently, but evidently at the time he took it to his mother, who was in her 90s at the time. And he showed it to her, and she was like, you have to do this, because she doesn't see a lot of his work because it's horror. And so I didn't know it, but we had Mama Bell's approval to get him involved in this movie. Always
a good idea to run it by your mother every time, right? And for your mom, how did she react to this film?
She loved it. She loved it. And so the thing is, I came back to Sumter. I came back to South Carolina to shoot this. And so my mom was actually really heavily involved in that, because when I came back, I believe there was like 4 or 5 of our crew. We stayed in my mother's house. We completely took over. The pond house is actually our property, and we filmed on that. Yeah, so there's an image at the end of the film of my father holding a fish in front of a pond, and that's our pond. That's where we shot at. And I really wanted to come back to a place that was authentic to me, that had experienced love, and that my father had walked on, because I just felt like that was going to translate through the camera, and I really think it did.
It's really hallowed ground to tell this story. And the working title of this film, it was not A Father's Legacy. It actually had something to do with the pond. Tell us what that was.
Yeah, the original title for the longest time was The Old Man in the Pond. And it was a small riff on The Old Man in the Sea. But as we got towards the process of getting the film out to everyone, we're like, all right, we've got like 3 seconds for people to know what this movie is about. Yeah. And A Father's Legacy is I think a really good title for this movie.
But as a matter of fact, the former title, the working title, is what you won the official selection of the Soho International Film Festival under. So congratulations on that. You've already racked
Thank
in some accolades for this film. I want to take a break here. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about the process of making films, and also maybe you can tell our audience a little bit more about your upbringing and what brought you to Hollywood. We'll do that in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. We've been chatting with actor and filmmaker Jason Mack, also native South Carolinian, who just released. Now, is this your first feature film?
Yes, as a director and a writer and producer, yes, it's my first.
And star.
Feature. And star, yes.
So what is that, a quadruple threat?
That's probably a lot of ignorance is bliss.
Quintuple threat. Yeah. So tell us about that process. How do you juggle all those roles and produce something that has been lauded by your colleagues, your peers, and those with some pretty discerning taste when it comes to films?
You know, I think there's kind of two answers to that. And the first one is I was very fortunate to have a wonderful team around me. And between the casting director and our director of photography and a producer I brought on to kind of help me on the day-to-day while we were shooting. The second thing is preparation, thank goodness. I'm a big fan of it. But honestly, there's a lot. You don't know what you don't know. And going into this, there was a ton that I didn't know, and we just kind of had to address it as we went. But it was a lot of work. It was definitely, I took a big bite, but thankfully I had good people and prepared well. We filmed this, for perspective, we shot this movie in 2018. I finished the script of this in 2017. So it's, you know, this wasn't a quick project. This was years in the making. It
really was. So 4 or 5 years down the line, and here we are today. And you already had your premiere, but it will become available digitally. People can see it starting July 17th, so that's very exciting. I know a lot of your South Carolinians are right there behind you and very excited for you. What is next?
That's a wonderful question. It was, so actually I went home for the theatrical premiere of the film. And it was so amazing to see so many people, especially in South Carolina, my hometown of Sumter, support this. And what was interesting about that trip was this movie is now out there. Yeah. And it's for everyone else to enjoy. It's not just my movie anymore. And I started to feel that space, that creative space starting to open up inside me. So what is next? I've got a few things kind of percolating up there. One on the TV side, a couple on the film side. And we'll see.
It's marvelous. And remind us again, what was your dad's name?
Randy McElveen.
Randy. Well, Randy, a father's legacy. He certainly made an impact on you, and I know your movie's going to make an impact on a lot of people who see it. I want to thank you so much, Jason, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
We're back after this.